On this cold evening, we are asking you to think about the summer, about the dog, locked in a hot car, and the potential new law that could protect you if you break the window to save it. Think about the homeless men and women of our community and the warm beds they'll sleep in tonight because of the volunteers who've been there too. We continue to look deeper at Colorado's new right to die law and why advocates say some hospital systems aren't following the rule.
This entrance been in use for, well, since the cemetery opened.
Denver's oldest cemetery will have to make a change because of an RTD crossing. Speaking of which, we should make sure the A-line is working. And we walk a mile with a woman who's determined to log many more than that. Next.
Welcome. A little more snow tonight, a whole lot of cold over the next few days. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin here in the 9 News Weather Center. Outside, the biggest problem today has been the freezing drizzle, the areas of patchy fog, although snow showers can't rule that out. And did you feel it? 20 degrees colder today. Yesterday we enjoyed highs in the mid-50s. We're down to 17 in Evergreen, 22 already at DIA, and 25 in Brimfield. Wind chill right now 11. Snow tapering off from north to south. Winter weather and travel advisories will be scaled back as well. Low pressure area headed for the Midwest, where difficult travel is expected from Omaha to Minneapolis. Light accumulation south of Aspen and north of Steamboat Springs between now and Wednesday morning. Here in Denver, we continue cloudy with areas of freezing drizzle and fog. Even a brief snow shower still possible. Drive tomorrow morning will be just fine, but jacket weather to be sure, and more difficult travel conditions on I-70, even with the snow letting up. Light snow still possible in Denver tonight, and with the areas of fog and cloud cover, I think our low will be very cold in the lower teens. Mid-20s tomorrow in the afternoon, some sunshine, but a cold north wind will make it feel colder than that high of 30. Temperatures trend colder than average until the weekend, then bounce back into the 40s, almost 50 on Sunday. Good travel weather to get up to areas like Breckenridge, Steve. The snow up there, I heard, is amazing.
All right, Kathy, thanks so much. It may be tough to do this in the cold, but think for a second about summer. If you watch next, you know we're passionate about issues surrounding dogs. Many of you watched and shared Kyle's commentary about the dog he saw locked in a car on a hot day. A Republican state representative from northern Colorado wants a law that would protect people from prosecution or civil action if they break a window to save a person or a pet in a hot car. There are a few requirements, though. The Good Samaritan has to make an honest effort to find the owner of the car. They have to make sure the car is locked, and they have to call law enforcement before they do anything. Some are concerned this opens the door for unnecessary vigilantism. Representative Lori Sain says that's why those requirements are in place in the first place.
We're not encouraging vigilantism. Now, a handful of states have passed a law like this that's not as robust as this one is, and there hasn't been any rashes of vigilantism where people are just breaking car windows for no reason.
Florida, Ohio, and Wisconsin are among those states with similar laws. If you haven't had a chance to watch Kyle's commentary, we have it right now on the next Facebook page. Well, as Kathy just told you, it is going to be pretty cold again this week. That's no surprise since it's January in Colorado. But there's a group of people who are determined to help those out in the cold who would be sleeping outside in the cold with all the weather in Aurora. It's a nonprofit called Aurora Warms the Night. They've handed out motel vouchers today to make sure men, women, and children had somewhere warm to stay tonight.
All right, you understand the rules, right? No alcohol, no drugs. Make sure the room's clean when you leave. Make sure you take a shower before you get into bed. Hotels are acting that, okay? There's a lot of people out there that are in need, that have been suffering out there, homeless, and what their needs is that they need someone to support them. Okay, this is your voucher, so it is for 3 nighs. You need to take the voucher downstairs. You get your food, your hygiene products, and anything, gloves, hats, if you needed a coat, things like that downstairs, okay?
I volunteer here at PASS. I do most of the security work for them and things like that, and I volunteer just anywhere they need me, but I'm also homeless, and I live out back here with the other folks, you know, and we do the best we can. There's people here with mental issues and physical issues that just get passed by the wayside, and if it wasn't for places like this, they would just be lost.
Today's my first day. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I just know, I just want to do what I can to help, What inspired me to volunteer is the way I was raised. My family actually, I was kind of like, was in the situation that they're in. I grew up in a poor family. I grew up not having a mother and a father. I had surgery 14 times because I was in a life-threatening accident when I was a kid. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. Something up in the universe had me here for a reason. So I want to utilize my experience to give back because I know what they're going through.
This project means the world to me. So I got involved with Aurora Warms the Night by accident. I accidentally was down here one day. They were handing out motel vouchers. That was 3 years ago. The kindness and the strength they demonstrate on a daily basis should be a lesson to us all.
Sometimes just even having somebody to talk to or a meal one day when you don't know where your next one's coming from, that can do a lot for you and a lot to build your self-esteem and to get you back on the track to help you get your life going again.
Aurora Warms the Night handed out vouchers for a total of 43 rooms today. Those vouchers are good for the next 3 nights. The stays at the motels will be extended if it's still below 20 degrees. The program is funded by community grants and money from the city of Aurora and the federal government. 2 more hospital systems say they will opt out of Colorado's new end-of-life options law. We told you yesterday that Delta County's Memorial Hospital officially announced it will opt out of the program. Today we learned both SCL and Centura Health will also opt out of providing the medication. The law specifically gives doctors the right to refuse to prescribe the medication, but there's an argument brewing over whether hospital systems can order doctors not to prescribe the medicine. Now follow me here. The law specifically says hospitals and healthcare facilities can tell doctors not to prescribe the medicine if the patient intends to use it on the grounds of the hospital. But the law isn't clear on whether a hospital or healthcare system can tell doctors not to prescribe the medicine at all, even if the patient was going to ingest it outside of the hospital walls. Advocates say the hospitals can't issue policies like that. Both SCL and Centura told us they are confident that their policies will stand up. A court may have to sort all of this out in the end. Well, RTD has a big request into the Public Utilities Commission. As part of the North Commuter Rail, RTD wants to close the entrance to the historic Riverside Cemetery on Brighton Boulevard. But that's not going over well with everyone. Here's Noel Brennan.
Few places in Colorado,
Well, it's over 60 acres,
hold as much history
around 65,000
as Riverside Cemetery.
people buried here.
Ray Thal knows many of those buried here,
Then I also do tours here at the cemetery.
and he's happy to introduce you.
This is the final resting place of Augusta Tabor. This is where David Day is buried. And of course, Governor Rout being the first elected governor.
Preserving a cemetery 2 months older than the state of Colorado
It's
is important to Ray.
it's just a special place because of its history.
History, Ray says, may soon be harder to reach after work wraps up on a new commuter rail line to Thornton.
RTD is proposing that we close the existing entrance at Riverside Cemetery and provide an alternate entrance off of Race Court or York Street, which RTD will construct and pay for.
RTD says the plan they submitted, along with BNSF, is about safety.
Easier access and not having to negotiate train traffic.
The entrance to Riverside Cemetery hasn't changed since
Since the cemetery opened.
Ray fears moving the entrance to any other spot may make it harder for visitors.
It's going to have a tremendous impact on our ability to give tours.
Ray hopes the history held here
First burial here was June 1st, 1876.
will be shared long after he's gone.
I've recently purchased plots for myself and my family out here.
For next,
It's got a beauty all its own.
I'm Noel Brennan.
In the end, it's up to the Colorado Public Utilities Commission to decide what happens with the entrance. The Race Court option wouldn't move the entrance too far away, but the York Street option would force visitors to weave their way through the cemetery to get to the parking area and to the administrative office. Well, we want to know, is the A line working today? You know, RTD's trained to the plane. Yes, it seems to be working. even with the chillier weather. So that's good news for everyone getting to and from the airport. But we can't have the best of both worlds today. The B line wasn't working this morning. There were delays because of mechanical issues. One of the routes from Denver's Union Station to Westminster was canceled. Looks like everything is working again, though, tonight. There's an up-and-coming star on the Colorado art scene. It only took him 80-plus years to pick up the clay. Kyle's always telling me to take a hike, so I decided to make it part of my workday. And you know that town 2 hours down 285? Is it Byoona or Buena? Let's settle it once and for all. Next. I am a cat person, not afraid to admit that. And apparently cats know a cat person, even if he's on the TV. Jack Bowman sent us a picture of his 5-month-old kitten Simon watching Next last night. When Kyle is gone, we try to attract a different audience, and apparently it's working. Thanks for watching both Simon and Jack. Next question. How the heck do you pronounce the town of Buena Vista? Buena Vista? Buena Vista? It seems like there are a few different pronunciations. All right, let's settle this. You've probably heard it said a bunch of different ways too, regardless of where you grew up or where you're from. Instead of coming to a conclusion ourselves, we went to someone who would definitely know how to pronounce the name of the town, the executive director of the town's Chamber of Commerce.
I prefer that people say Buena Vista. And I'll say that because it was chosen by the town back in 1879 when it was incorporated. And it's our town, and we should be able to pronounce it the way we want to pronounce it. So, and we get people all the time that say, "Why are we insulting the Spanish?" And we're not insulting the Spanish. They never lived here. They did not name it. It had nothing to do with them. It was named by a German woman.
Chamber of Commerce says people call them all the time, and when they answer the phone and say Buena Vista Chamber of Commerce, you hear someone yell, "I won!" because they have a bet with their friends or family members about the proper pronunciation. Well, next time you go through Loveland, look around. It's filled with beautiful sculptures. Photojournalist Mike Grady met up with one Loveland man who found inspiration in his city's artwork.
Goodness knows I've got lots of room for improvement. I've been working on this for probably a month and a half. I'm retired, so I've got lots of time, and it keeps me off the streets.
He's very dedicated. When he decides to do something, he goes all in.
Living in Loveland, you're just surrounded by sculpture.
We took a tour of the foundry, and he thought, I want to be a part of this.
I'm Stuart McDonald. I'm 85 years old, and I've been sculpting for a year and a half.
My name is Ann McDonald. And Stuart and I have been married 14 years this year. We're still kind of newlyweds.
Ho, ho, ho. That's my very first piece.
He always has wonderful ideas.
There are those, of course, who claim it's a self-portrait.
But it's fun to see what the next piece is going to be.
And I'm combining two icons, the Statue of Liberty and the Heisman Trophy.
See what it's going to be titled. I think that's what's fun.
The title will be Liberty in Action. But like I say, it's all been a learning experience, and God knows I learned a lot from this.
I think we all need to engage in things that are a little more challenging for us.
Regardless of your age, you're never too old to learn something new, to make new friends, and to enjoy life. And by all means, go for it.
If you need a little motivation to be active, take a hike with Nancy.
I said, oh, there's my shadow. That's proof of life.
Her story motivated me not only to get outside and walk, but to explore the nature on this side of the mountains. Some of the best conversations I've ever had came during walks and hikes. People get real. And since I could use some exercise, we decided to try something different. Tonight, we debut Take a Hike with Steve with a walk with Nancy Mangan. She's determined to log 2,800 miles on her pedometer, the width of the continental U.S. And she's doing it for a good reason.
We're in the Highline Canal around Greenwood Village. Was made in 1880, and it's 71 miles long. It starts in Waterton Canyon and goes up to DIA. I've committed to walk the whole length of it. In 2016, I walked 1,000 miles, most of it on the Highline, and now I'm at 1,800, and I'm going to walk the distance of the width of the United States.
So you started this mission because of something that happened in your life?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, April. I had double mastectomies, reconstruction, a colectomy, and I was really kind of in shock for a very long time, 9 months I would say. And then I read something that said, set a physical goal. So I decided I'd walk 1,000 miles. Just sort of, I'm going to walk 1,000 miles because I've never kept track of anything. And it was a great way to heal. One day I noticed when I was going through this that my shadow was really long out in front of me. It's going that way, right in this stretch. And I said, oh, there's my shadow. That's proof of life. And I'm blocking the sun. I can see it move. It's proof that I'm alive.
A lot of people don't get out and walk. What kinds of things do you see that other folks don't see?
Well, first of all, I think you see how much nature there is in Denver. I mean, for me, it's like you're just immediately in nature, even though there are houses around and sometimes you hear traffic and that kind of thing. You really have a fantastic nature experience.
What's it going to feel like when you finally reach that goal?
Well, I kind of think it's going to feel like when I reached the 1,000-mile goal, because I didn't have another goal after that. And I was kind of at a loss. And a goal didn't just pop immediately to my head like the first 1,000 miles did. So I think I'm going to have to find another goal.
Now, all this got me thinking about making a recommendation. This is where we point you towards something that we think is pretty cool. Now, check out the trails that wind in and out the neighborhoods of the South Metro area. South Suburban Parks and Rec does a great job managing them. Inspired by my walk with Nancy, I checked all of that out this weekend. South Suburban has a great trail system that links many of the neighborhoods together. It really is a great hike, nice and relaxing. You don't have to go up to the mountains to find some nature. Oh, and by the way, if you know someone interesting we should take a hike with, get in touch with us. You know how. #HeyNext. Your feedback and questions about a confusing license plate spotted by a Next viewer when we get back. It's a sign, actually a license plate, but same thing really. This one really perplexed Next viewer Kyle Cruz. Mrs. Laws, Mr. Slaws, you can't really tell. It could be a married woman lawyer or a man with a love of cabbage salads. If you know the story behind this license plate, you have to let us know. And if you have a sign or a license plate that makes you laugh, we want to see it. Send it to us, next@9news.com, or tweet it to us with the hashtag #HeyNext. Your feedback tonight, very mixed on the pronunciation of Buena Vista. If you're a native, Sue says, if you are a native of this awe-inspiring state, then you are willingly accepting the risk of sounding like a rube and pronouncing it Byoona. Kyle says, it's neither, it's Byoona. And Amy says, Buena, but I'm a fourth-generation native. I think I pronounced that right. Scott says, love the sentiment of dogs and hot cars. Bad idea, though. I'm going to ditch the tie because so many people want me to get rid of it. See you next time.